I'm a 27-year-old multi-millionaire, and there's 9 principles that I follow to get me here. Today, I'm gonna break them all down so you can use them to get richer than 99% of people. First things first, you have to absolutely detest poverty. One of my mentors, Myron Golden, recently said this to me. He said that when he was broke, he detested poverty with an intensity that was magnanimous. I'm not gonna lie, I ain't never really heard anybody talk like that before, and it stuck with me like crazy. And it took me back to the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. I come from super humble beginnings. My mom made less than $20,000 a year, and we grew up in a 450 square foot house with 5 people living in it. Since a young age, I hated my financial situation. I was embarrassed to invite friends over to my house. I was never happy with the clothes that I was wearing, and I always desired a rich and successful life since I was extremely young. And I think that that is a big reason why I was able to reach the level of success that I have. I think people believe that there is some type of nobility in poverty, but I truly believe that there is no nobility in poverty. I feel like not all rich people are good, but not all poor people are good either. In fact, most of the rich people that I know have done more positive things for the world than these people that stand on their high horse about being poor and not striving for more in life. So I genuinely believe the first principle that made me successful is really looking at poverty as a sickness and having this deep desire to make a change for myself. Like, it used to bother me so much that I was poor that I would literally lose sleep over it. I would just dream day in and day out about the day that I was able to make $1 million so I could help my mom, so that I could live the life of my dreams, so that I could help everyone else around me succeed. This is the only thing that I cared about in my life. And I hate to be the guy to tell you this, but if you don't have this same level of intensity in your life, you ain't never gonna be rich. And sure, that's probably not what you clicked on this video to hear, but it's just the God's honest truth. I haven't met a single rich person who didn't feel this way. I haven't met a single rich person who didn't want to devote every single waking moment of their life while they were broke to figuring this thing out. You have to make the decision in your mind that it is simply not an option for you to be poor. It's okay if you're poor today, but you have to decide in your mind that you will not allow this to be your situation for the rest of your life. And I believe once you make this decision, you start to develop this self-image of a person who is successful. Many years ago, when I first started my journey, I learned about this concept of self-image, and it changed my life forever. I read this book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, and the entire book is about this topic of self-image. Maxwell was a world-renowned plastic surgeon, and he talked about the effects of people making minor changes to their physical appearance and how it changed how they saw themselves in the mirror. With these minor changes that they would make to their lips or their nose, they would go on to be much more successful in their careers, not because they looked better, but because they saw themselves completely differently. And from a very young age, I knew that I was going to be successful. I didn't want to be poor. I wanted to be successful. So my whole life, I've always seen myself as somebody who was worthy of those things. So I believe before anything else, this is the foundation that all of my success has been built upon today. And if you want to get rich, you need to implement this as soon as possible. I would also say you need to start ignoring everyone who doesn't have what you want. Everybody in the world has advice for you. Everybody has a strategy for you to follow. Everybody has their own best path that they think you should take, but only you, deep down inside, know what you really want out of life. Only you can close your eyes at night and see the future vision that you have for yourself. More often than not, when you share this vision with somebody else, their perception of it is completely distorted through the lens of their life. So therefore, they tell you that you shouldn't do it, or it's dangerous, or you're going to fail. And this deters most people from starting the things that they really desire, especially considering that the people that are usually telling you these things are the ones that you love the most. So you really value what they're saying. Maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your siblings, maybe it's your girlfriend. And because these people care so much about you, you think that what they're saying is correct. But I hate to tell you this, if your dad is not a millionaire, don't ask him for advice about money. If your mom is not in a successful marriage or relationship, don't ask her about relationship advice. You need to start ignoring every single person who doesn't have the thing you want out of life. And when I say ignore, I don't mean cut off your day ones, but I simply mean just don't take their advice on things that they don't know how to do. I cannot tell you how much awful advice I got in my life about making money. I cannot tell you how many people told me that I was gonna fail and these things weren't gonna work out. I cannot tell you how many people told me not to do YouTube because it's a distraction and a complete waste of time. I've gotten so much shitty advice in my life that if I listen to it all, there's a 0% chance I will be successful. The older I get, the less I care about what people think about me, and the more I focus on what I want to do with my own life. Because if I can be super honest with you guys, the sad truth is that I wasted way too many years of my life caring what people think about me. I've always been able to block out the noise and blaze my own path in life, but even still, I always looked for approval from other people, and I always wanted to make sure that other people thought that I was going on the right path. But as I've started to get older, especially in this last 3 to 4 years, I genuinely stopped caring what people think about what I'm doing and just focus on what I want to do in my life. And this has had massive returns in every aspect of my life. Not only am I more confident, but I'm happier and my businesses are more successful than ever. I used to be scared to promote stuff on my social media because I thought my audience would think that I'm a sellout. But funny enough, my audience is happy that I'm selling something, and they're honored to be able to invest and become a part of whatever I'm selling because they respect me. I spent all these years not promoting things to my audience, just building a relationship with them because I was so worried what people were gonna say about me. I missed out on millions and millions of dollars because of this advice that I had gotten from somebody that if you talk and sell to your audience, they're gonna turn against you. But it was completely wrong, because in reality, in the end, it doesn't really matter at all what anybody thinks. And 9 times out of 10, people are just putting their own fears onto you. So a simple principle that I will live by for the rest of my life is do not take advice from anybody who doesn't have what you want. Now, putting that to the side, if you want to get rich, without a doubt, you have to understand money. Everybody wants to make money, but nobody has an understanding of how it works. The difference between the rich and the poor is simply that they understand money more than everybody else. And if you give me 2 minutes, I'll tell you everything that they know. First, you get paid in proportion to the value that you provide to the world. So however much money you have in your bank account today is exactly as much as you deserve. It sucks, but it's the truth. If you had a higher value skill, or you had a product or service that provided more value to the world, you would have 10 times more money. And the sooner you understand this, the better. Because it is only from this position that you can get out of the victim mentality and start to be proactive about your own success with money. Nobody's coming to save you. There's gonna be no government program that bails you out of your finances. You have to figure out a skill that is worth something to this world, and you need to figure out how to provide it to as many people as possible as soon as you can. Making money is really not that hard. The hard part is building up this skill that is worth something to the world. But once you have that skill, it literally takes nothing for you to go out and sell it. At the very beginning of my journey, when I was dead broke, I spent my free time learning how to edit videos. And it was with this skill that I was able to make my first couple $100s online. I didn't get lucky or anything like that. I just had a skill that was worth something, and I was able to charge people for it. And it is literally that simple. The first skill that you ultimately decide to focus on is really not that important. What's more important is that you actually enjoy it and there's value for it in the marketplace. Like, it's 2025, so don't go try to be a newspaper writer or go try to be some graphic designer. These things have completely been automated by AI. You need to try to find the stuff that is in demand in the market today. And to do this successfully, you need to go with the flow. And I don't mean this in a hippie way of just let things happen. I mean, you need to position yourself where the money is headed. You need to get ahead of trends before they're already there. Unless you're living in Iraq, the direction that the world is headed in is clearer than ever. If you're a complete beginner today and you're looking for ways to make money, trying to develop skills in AI is the best thing that you can do. Companies are paying tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands for people that know how to leverage these tools to their advantage. And furthermore, you can use these AI tools to build businesses of your own. You can build an agency, you can make content, you can even start an online store fully powered with AI. I recently helped a 17-year-old complete beginner go from zero to over $2,000 a day, 100% with AI. We used AI to find him a trending product, build him an online store, and create ads that we could run on Facebook. And with no prior experience, he was able to take this business to over $100,000 in its first 90 days. This is only possible because we spent the time mastering this skill set of AI and positioned ourselves where the world is headed. In short, you need to pick a skill that is valuable to the world. And the easiest way to do that is positioning yourself where all the attention and energy in the market today is headed. And once you come up with an idea, it's very important that you start before you're ready. When I was much younger, I spent way too much time just waiting for the perfect moment to get things going. And this held me back more than anything else. I would go as far as saying that this is the biggest downfall of beginner entrepreneurs today. They spend all this time just waiting for a magical sign from God to understand when is the best time to get started with their business. They spend all this time studying and researching the market, waiting for this golden opportunity, when in reality, you just need to get started and create it for yourself. Truth is, the first idea that you go with 9 times out of 10 is not gonna make you rich, but you need to do it anyways. The reason is starting something new is gonna teach you more lessons than anything. Throughout my journey, I failed in over 10 different businesses. I had a clothing brand. I had a sneaker reselling company. I had an events company. I had a software development company. I had a tech support business. I had a wedding photography business. I had so many different businesses while I was young and in high school. And while they looked like failures in the moment, these businesses were my MBA. These businesses were my training ground to learn the skills that eventually made me a millionaire. Yeah, sure, that clothing brand failed, but it taught me how to use Photoshop and build a website to sell products online. Yeah, sure, my sneaker reselling business failed, but it taught me how to do sales and communicate with people face to face, even as a little kid. And I didn't really get anything from the wedding photography business except for like $200, but you know, we did it anyways. Point is, you're gonna learn more from trying and failing than you are from just learning and studying and reading books. I'm not against reading books. I love to read, but most of you guys are spending way too much time in the books and not enough time in the field. So if you've been waiting for a sign, let this video today be that sign. Whatever idea you've been thinking about pursuing, whatever you've been sitting on for the past few months, please, for the love of God, just start. Every day that you're not doing this is literally a wasted day, and we're not getting any younger. The clock is ticking, the world is changing right in front of your face, and if you don't take action now, it's gonna be too late before you know it. So start before you're ready and learn through trial and error. The next tip I would give is start making income as soon as possible. The reality is that it takes money to make money, and you need to get it as soon as you can. I think a lot of entrepreneurs have this massive ego about going out and getting a 9-to-5 job or going door to door selling services because they want to have a wildly profitable AI business that prints them money while they sleep. But the truth is, if you're just sitting at home all day, clicking around, watching YouTube videos like this, you're not doing things the right way. If you're smart, you will go out there and get a side job or do a side hustle that pays you money that you can reinvest into whatever business that you actually want to build. Take, for example, the 17-year-old kid that I just told you about. He came to my house in Miami with just $38 to his name. And the first thing we did wasn't go start an online store and spend his last $30 on Facebook ads. No, the first thing I did was I took him door to door selling mobile detailing packages to people in my neighborhood. We had a hose, some soap, some rags, and we were able to turn that into $500 in just 3 days. You can do the exact same thing. You might not think that you can, but I promise if you go out there and go knock on 100 doors and sell a service, you're gonna put money in your pocket faster than you've ever seen. In just 72 hours of this kid being at my house, he had more money than he's ever had in his life because I forced him to go out there and start making money ASAP. Since a young age, I made a decision for myself to never work a 9-to-5 job. I always wanted to go and do side hustles to make my money. So that's what I did. But I don't knock anybody who goes out there to get a job to put some money in their pocket. In fact, I think if I had gotten a job when I was younger, I would have had more money stashed away that I could have used to start these different businesses that I did. The only thing I would say is make sure you get a job that's actually adding value to the bigger picture of your life. Like, yeah, working at McDonald's is gonna put a couple $100 in your pocket, but it's not going to teach you any skills that you can carry into the business that you wanna build. So once you get clear about the business that you wanna start, try to find a job that's gonna help you make money in the business for the future. For example, if you want to become a successful YouTuber, go and try to get a job filming or editing for another YouTuber. This is going to teach you so many things about the process and help you understand what it actually takes to do that thing, and probably shortcut 10 years of learning that other person had to go through, and you could just skip the line. There's countless examples of this, but the moral of the story is that you need to start getting an income as soon as possible. If you do it through a side hustle that builds a skill, that's the best case scenario. Or if you go get a 9-to-5, just make sure that it's actually building up to something greater and you'll be all right. The next thing you need to do is genuinely fall in love with failure. I absolutely hate the school system in America because it taught us that failure is bad. Failure is the single reason why I am where I am today. And I believe as adults, we run as far away from failure as possible, when in reality, this is the only way for us to move forward in whatever we want to do in our lives. When you're a baby, you want to learn how to walk, you fall on your face 500 times and people are encouraging you as you do it. But when you're a grown man and you want to start a business, but you fail one time, everybody around you ridicules you and makes fun of you because you didn't succeed right away. What kind of society are we living in where that is the standard? The secret of the ultra successful is that they fail often and they fail quickly. For me, if I have an idea for my business, I try to throw it out there as soon as possible so that we can see how the market reacts to it. I don't wait till it's perfect. I don't wait till I feel ready. I simply put it out there. And if it fails, that is the best case scenario, because then I can tweak and rework my strategy the next time and make sure that it succeeds. This is a simple concept. I don't need to spend too much time on it, but just learn to fall in love with failure, because it is the greatest teacher you will ever have in your life. So now I want to talk about one of my greatest productivity hacks that I use every single day. And no, it's not waking up at 5 in the morning or doing cold plunges. It is planning the day before. For the past 10 years, every single night before I go to bed, I make what's called a power list. This is a simple list where I write down 5 things that I'm going to focus on for the next day. Doing this one simple thing gives me so much clarity every single morning. And sure, some days I'm not perfect. Some days I don't finish everything on the list, but at least once I wake up, I know exactly what's important to me and exactly what I need to focus on. In the world that we live in today, we are all so distracted. There's so many opportunities everywhere, and this is the one thing that keeps me grounded. So if you want to 10x your productivity, start to make a power list every single night before you go to bed. And don't put any bullshit on there. Don't put, oh, I'm gonna go on Instagram and make a post, or, oh, I'm going to find a Shopify product. No. Put 5 big tasks, things that are gonna take you a couple hours to do each, and really give yourself the time and energy to lock in on those things. Like my list today was film 2 YouTube videos. This took me like 3 hours. My list was film 10 video ads. This took me almost an hour. My list is have a meeting with my team. This is gonna take me 30 minutes. These are big things that actually move the needle forward. So it's very important that when you make this list, you actually come up with big stuff. Otherwise, you're just creating a dopamine rush of checking off boxes for little actions that mean nothing. And I would say, honestly, the principle that has made the biggest impact in my life is thinking bigger. It's pretty much a guarantee that you're thinking too small. Whatever goals you have right now in your life, I can almost promise you that they're not big enough. Like, I can't stress this enough. The only limitations that we have in our life are the ones that we put upon ourselves. I spent way too many years of my life setting goals that I thought were big, only to reach them and realize that it's just the tip of the iceberg. And funny enough, once I started setting goals that were 10 times bigger, sure, I might not hit them as consistently, but even when I fail, I massively outperform whatever I was doing before. I know it can be hard if you're at the beginning of your journey to have these big aspirational goals, because you might not even think that they're possible. So that's why it is so important for you to get around an environment that breeds this level of thinking. Sure, you might not be able to surround yourself with millionaires, but you can consume a certain type of content. You can join certain types of communities and really be conscious of what you're consuming. Furthermore, you should be conscious of the conversations that you're having with people around you. If the people in your circle are thinking small, well, you're gonna be thinking small as well. And that doesn't mean you don't have to talk to them. That doesn't mean you don't have to be friendly with them, but it just means you have to be conscious of what you're consuming so that you can allow yourself to have these big goals and these big aspirations. The goals that you set need to scare the crap out of you. Like, I have a goal right now in my life that makes no sense for me to achieve, but I'm gonna go for it anyways. I wanna try to do $1 million in a day before the year is over, and I'm gonna do it. You know, the cool thing about setting big goals is you switch from this frame of mind of can I do this to how can I do this? The question used to be, can I make $1 million in a day? But the question now is, how can I do it? And when you make that shift from can I to how can I, you now start to become practical and figure out solutions to the problem. Whereas before you're just juggling with faith and fear, now you are literally creating a tactical plan to achieve the goal that you set out. So try this exercise today. Set a very big goal for yourself and ask yourself, how can I do this? And shut your phone away in the drawer and write in your journal for 30 minutes a solution on how you can figure this thing out. It will shock you how clear your mind is and how confident you feel about moving forward with this thing. And if you combine that with all the principles that I taught you today, I have no doubt in my mind that you will get richer than 99% of people in the world. And when you do, don't forget to subscribe because we're on the road to 2 million. I'll see you in the next one.